And good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hi, my name is Sally Thibault, and I'm the host of the Isn't It Time Facebook Live show, brought to you every Saturday morning. And today we're talking about one of the really challenging issues I see for many women, and that is the ability to ask either a pay rise, be able to put their fees up in their business, or even make a sale. So today we're going to be talking about what is it that's so difficult for us to do. We're going to look at some unconscious bias. And of course, what we will also be doing at the end of this is that we will be doing a powerful tapping session to help you get underneath what's really going on. And also at the end of this, I have a very exciting announcement to make. So hang on to that. So towards the end of the show, I'll be sharing that. So as you pop on this morning, just good morning, Donna. Lots of rain in Brisbane last night. Yeah, it was raining when I got up this morning, about 4:45, and I didn't go for my walk. I hadn't showered, got out, and it's only just started raining. So, hey, good morning, Laura. Lovely to have you here. Let's hope it's going out west, and some of the I saw something on the news last night that it is raining out west, and they're getting a little bit of some rain. Of course, they'll need lots more, but it must be so nice to just be walking in mud instead of walking in dust. Let's hope it. Our pool's actually quite full. I'm just looking at that. So yeah, Donna, we must have got a fair bit of rain because it's full. How is everybody this week? Let me know how you've been going. What's been going on? Hope you had a good week. Let's talk money. Do you know, it's interesting, isn't it? Because this is when I'm coaching clients, this is one of the most challenging issues we come up against, is this ability to either set prices in their business, increase their fees, or when I'm working with corporate clients, it's asking for a pay rise. And I want to share something really interesting with you. According to the World Economic Forum, there is no country on earth currently where women make as much as men for the same work. Isn't that extraordinary? I found that absolutely extraordinary. The leading countries in the world are the Scandinavian countries. They're up around 85%. So still a long way to go. But for many women, even if you're not in the corporate area and looking to ask for a pay rise, this can also impact on your ability to make money in your business just by that uncomfortable feeling. So what we're going to be looking at today, we're going to be looking at the number one reason why we struggle, what the unconscious bias is, and how you can possibly overcome that. And of course, we're going to end with that tapping session right at the very end. So let's first look at why it's so difficult to ask for a sale. And it appears that for many women, it comes from growing up in a patriarchal home. So where perhaps dad made all the decisions. I remember when I was growing up, something that's always sat in my mind, when my dad was doing his tax, or our tax, I guess it was. And mum would go, shh, don't interrupt dad. He's got a very important job to do. He's got to do our tax. Now, of course, I was, 10. I had no idea what tax was. But I knew it was very important, this thing that dad was doing. And it's about this power and authority. And so when women want to ask for a sale, it's almost like you have this kind of sense of, should I be doing this? Should I be doing this? I don't want to upset everybody. The second aspect of this is that asking for pay rise, asking for a sale can be considered aggressive. And that goes against the grain for many women who we like to be liked. And in fact, that's one of the top issues for women in leadership, is that they're more their desire to be liked is far much more than for a man. So when it comes to setting prices and or asking for a pay rise, it's not a matter of confidence. You know, some people get really caught up in this, you've just got to have confidence to do it. It's more than that. It's way more than that. And if you can get underneath it, it can really make a difference. So when you are looking at your income, for instance, what you want to set as your fees, say you've got your own business, it's about getting in and looking really at not what you think you should be setting the fees at, not what everybody else is setting their fees at. I mean, do a little bit of research, but that's got nothing to do with it, really. It's about how you feel, because it doesn't matter what you set your prices at. If you don't feel you have a balanced giving and receiving of energy, so that's my energy in exchange for what you will pay me, you will end up feeling uncomfortable or end up feeling you're giving too much. And so we go back to that imposter syndrome for many women, that whole thing about, the superwoman thing, giving more than what we're getting in return. So when you're looking at what you want to charge, if your pay rise, it's about looking at the history that you've experienced in the past. So first of all, the unconscious bias. So look at what you believe. Yeah, exactly, Donna. It is. It's so true for many women. Look at what you believe about money and people. We can make these grandiose kind of judgments about others and what they charge. We can make this sort of decisions about what people earn or what they spend without really being aware of our own unconscious bias. So when it comes to spending money, making money, look at your own bias about it. And I want to share a story about this. When that leadership spill happened in Canberra, they were talking about Julie Bishop, and there was an article in the Australian magazine about her not, the leadership spill and her only getting 11 votes. But the lead paragraph in this article said she cuts this swathe of elegance walking across the green carpet of Parliament House in her red-soled $1,500 Christian Louboutin shoes, jogging in her designer outfits, with heads of state. Now, right in there sets up this unconscious bias, because people would begin to question, hang on a minute, how come she can afford $1,500 shoes? That's my tax. Is my taxes paying for that? We make assessments and quick judgments about what people will spend and what they wear. We even make decisions about ourselves. I had this week with one of my clients who were talking about money we spend on ourselves, and I was sharing with her a story about my youngest daughter, who's a dancer, and when she was young and she was doing ballet, I think nothing of spending $185 on a pair of point shoes for her that she'd wear once a week for 20 minutes before she grew out of them. 3 months later, I had to get another pair. And yet myself, I'd go to Spend Less to buy the $40 shoes that were on special. Now, that was just this unconscious bias. I would spend money on my children, which many parents do, but not spend money on myself. So look at your unconscious bias about yourself and what you believe about money and other people, because sometimes that's the thing that can be holding you back. When you think, well, I'd never charge, I'd never overcharge people, I'd never do that, that's not my essence. Then you can get underneath that unconscious. You don't even know you're doing it, remember? You don't even know you're doing it sometimes. I was walking past a Carla Zampatti store the other day, and I said to my husband, when I grow up, I'm going to buy that Carla Zampatti. Where did that come from? When I grow up. So look at your unconscious bias. Yes. We are the nurturers, Donna. And you know what's really interesting about that is that that's okay. That's okay as long as you are nurturing you, as long as you are doing what you need to do in order, and you're not putting yourself last. But yes, incredible, isn't it? So incredible how we do that. Okay, so let's look at now the other side of this. I want to look at the second aspect of this. And this is stuff that you were told about when you were a child, about asking. Now, when you asked for something when you were a child, how was that dealt with? Now, I grew up in a great big Catholic family, 5 kids, all Catholic schools. Mum and dad both worked simply when I think our mum worked to pay the school fees and dad kind of worked to pay everything else. So I remember when we were asking for things as children, saying things like, just be happy with what you're given. Don't be greedy. There's lots of people with lots less than you've got. And if you were given a present when you were a child, and you didn't like it, you accepted it, you be gracious, be happy with what you've got. All that sits really underneath. Oh, you did? Oh, you have to share it, Donna. Share that. Sits really underneath this. What were you told about asking for something for yourself when you were a child? Now, remember when I went back what I was saying before, that a lot of the issue around asking for a pay rise, for instance, is that it's considered to be aggressive. Asking can appear to be aggressive. And we want to be liked underneath. Everybody does, but we have a much greater desire to be liked. And so that can be playing into this. Now, here's where it is. As I mentioned before when you first got started, this isn't just about confidence. Oh, yeah, don't ask, be happy for what you get, can't afford it, blah, blah. Sounds like you and I grew up in the same family, Donna. So many of us who grew up in kind of the 60s and 70s, that early, it was just, you just got what you're given. You did, you'd never ask for anything. I was telling my daughters the other day about this. Mum and dad really did it tough. I got to say, we had a little 3-bedroom house, post-war, they bought all that stuff. 5 kids went a 3-bedroom house. Every shooter. Nobody had a room of their own, let me tell you. Anyway, and I had to share with my 2 sisters. Oh, wow. Always saying you don't deserve. She was very generous to herself. Wow. Isn't that? I really look around that, Laura. That's some really interesting. I just want to show that because that's really interesting. Very wealthy. Dad was generous. Mum was always asking, you don't deserve. Always saying you don't deserve. She was very generous to herself. I'd really look around that, Laura. There's some really interesting stuff going on there. Interesting stuff. Let me go back. So mum and dad, 3-bedroom house, 5 kids, all shared rooms, blah, 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 blah. We had a school uniform and a school sports uniform. We played 3 games of netball every weekend. So we had our netball gear and we had clothes to go to mass on Sunday. I think I'm probably jeans. We were never jeans. I wasn't allowed to have jeans. Isn't that the funniest thing? My mother just thought jeans were terrible. No, you're not wearing jeans. I wouldn't have a pair of jeans until I was 14. She wouldn't let me have any. She just thought they were dreadful. Dreadful. Why would you wear a pair of those denim jeans? Dreadful. She was lovely, my mum. She really was beautiful. Always dressed elegantly. She was lovely. But yeah, so I just never grew up thinking I could have anything more than just the very basics. So how does that reflect energetically? For all my energy people on the call today, excuse me. How does that impact energetically? It impacts energetically because that's what you unconsciously, subconsciously believe. And when you go to ask for a pay rise, when you go to put your prices up, when you go to ask for a sale, the emotion center in your brain, which operates 200 times faster than the rational, reasonable part. So the rational, readable, the frontal lobes, you're saying, radio, this is what I'm going to charge, or I'm going to ask for the sale. I'm going to pull my big girl pants on. I'm going to be very confident. I'm going to ask for this pay rise. You've got this old stories running, whatever they are. You walk into that scenario, ask for the sale, ask for the pay rise. Your emotion center, exactly, Donna. Your emotion center operates 200 times faster. So your stress and anxiety levels go up like that, flooding the body with cortisol. Anxiety and stress take over. So I've heard of a friend of mine was mentioning that she flew up here to support someone to ask for pay rise, one of her team. And she said, we were walking into that meeting, her palms were sweaty. She said, my heart's thumping. That's the stress. That's the anxiety. That's the cortisol. And of course, when that happens, you go into flight, fight, fear response immediately. Can't think. That's the freeze. Flight, you want to get out of like, let's get this over and done with. And fight, you get cranky, get aggressive. And I remember having this conversation with a boss of mine, and I got really angry with him that didn't serve any purpose at all. But you get aggressive, and then you don't say things. So you have to, it's really, 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 really important that in order to begin to feel comfortable to ask for money, you have to address the old stories, the unconscious bias you have. And you'll know. Yeah, Donna, exactly. And, you know, I want to share something about that. I keep sidetracking, but because you guys keep coming up with great comments. That was really interesting. And I watched a podcast or watched a video about that. And when that happens, when speakers lose their voice and their throat tightens at the end, because that's the stress response kicking in, their energy changes. And the energy, you know, we talk about the energy, Heart and Math Institute, 3 meters out. When that energy shifts, the people in the audience feel the energy shift and they go, oh, something's happened here. She's not comfortable. He's not comfortable. And they'll go on. They get on guard because they're not sure about that. So it's a really, really interesting scenario, Donna, when that happens. Yep, exactly. We send out vibration that's picked up by the one we are asking for the raise. Exactly, Laura. And it's just we put it out there because sitting underneath that vibration is, I don't deserve it. I'm greedy. I want to be liked. Maybe I'm being aggressive. What if they say no? Where does that leave me? If they say no to this, where does that leave me? Where do I go from here? We revert back to that old child thing. And so it's really important that before you ask for a pay rise, before you set your prices, before you ask for a sale, in the lead up to it, you are doing the inner work. Because that's the important thing. You can have all your stuff sitting in the front. I know what I'm going to say. I'm not going to do. I prepared this thing. I've got all the script going. But the minute you begin the ask, the minute it happens, you go straight into the flight, fight, freeze response. That old story takes over. Remember, limbic system, the emotional brain, operates 200 times faster. And we're talking about nanoseconds here, 200 times faster. And so you'll walk out of the meeting going, oh, I wish I'd said. That's the freeze response. I wish I'd said. Remember, it's the blood flow leaving the frontal lobes to go to the arms and the legs for you to do something. That's the stress response. So you can't think clearly. So in order to ask for a sale, ask for a pay rise, put your prices up, you have to do the inner work. That's just essential. Because when you do the inner work, clearing out the emotional connection to all this stuff, then the ask becomes easy. And you know it because you have no emotional charge on it. One of the things that's really, I learned this from my husband, who's been in sales for 45 years, but selling, multi-millions of dollars in commercial real estate over 35 years. And he says, when you state your case, you ask for the sale, you ask for the pay rise, you ask, and then you don't say anything else. You don't say anything else. And that's the hardest thing, is to just stand in the silence. What I've seen many women do is that they'll ask for the sale or they'll ask for a pay rise, and then they go into justification and validation. So you want to be able to feel 100% in there. So we're going to do a tapping session now quickly, because I want to share with you this thing at the end. First of all, if you are interested in learning more about how to ask, the Courageous Feminine Leadership program, Courageous Wholehearted Leadership program. And one of the aspects in that, we talk about how to ask for pay rise, how to ask for sale. Absolutely. Yep, that's absolutely right, Donna. Inner work through your alignment with all 4 areas of your life, you are then ready and no justification. Absolutely be able to stand in that power. I agree with you. All right, let's do a quick tapping session, because I want to share with you this other thing. Ooh, too exciting. I've been working on it for so long now. All right, here we go. I want you now, if you have your own business, to write down what you're currently charging, your fees. Then I'd like you to write down a figure that you would really, 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 really like to charge. That would be the figure that if you were charging this, and if it's a pay rise, same thing, what you're currently on and what you believe you're worth, your value. Remember, in pay rise especially, it's your worth and value. It's the same thing as sales. Really, everything you do is worth and value. So write down what it is. And I want you to measure your level of fear, doubt, do I deserve it, anything else around that bigger figure. Okay, what you're currently charging now, or what you're currently being paid now, write that down. Then the big figure, okay, what it is you'd really, 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 really like to be charging, or really like to be earning. And what I want you to do is measure your level of doubt, fear, whatever it is, on the big one. Okay, so tap with me. Even though when I look at this big figure, I just feel a sense of doubt in my gut. And I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Even though when I look at that big figure, I can sense an old story coming up. I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Even though when I look at that big figure, there's a whole heap of emotion that comes up for me. I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Okay, tapping. This emotion. When I look at this figure, I feel this emotion. See if you can identify it. I'll use the word fear. I feel this fear. Am I truly deserving of this money? This fear. Am I deserving of this? I'm ready to examine this past story. This doubt. This fear. Am I worthy of this amount of money? I'm ready to release these old stories. I'm ready. This doubt and fear. This doubt. This doubt and fear. Okay, take a deep breath and let it go. So here's the work to do on this. There will be heaps of old stories, heaps and heaps and heaps and heaps. It won't just be one. It'll be lots of old stories. It'll come up for you. So this needs to be done every day until you can look at that figure and honestly and authentically feel really good about that. No nervousness, no sense of doubt. When you can look at that figure, when you can speak that figure, and you honestly have no charge on it, you'll feel it in your body. You'll feel it. Okay, let's just do a reframe round. Okay, let's just go straight into the tapping because we're running out of time again today. Okay, tapping. I choose to step into my worth. I choose to honor my worth. I choose to set my fees that honor my worth and value. I am deserving of this income. I forgive myself for hanging on to those old stories. I choose to step into my worth and value. I choose to forgive all those who have held me back in the past. I choose to step into my worth and my value. Okay, take a deep breath and let it go. Remember, always remember to add that forgiveness work. Add that forgiveness work. All right, so really excited to announce a brand new program. I've been asked about this for I don't know how long. I've been working on it since January. What are we now? October. I am launching an EFT for leaders and coaches program. Now, this training is for people who are coaches, leaders of teams. You may even want to do this for your own family, so leading your own family. This is not EFT for therapists, but you will have access to a resource where if you have a client that needs further training or needs further work, you'll be able to recommend to. It's a 2-day training. It takes place in Brisbane, the 16th and 17th of November. All the details are on this link, the EFT for Leaders program. It is about how you incorporate, if you're already coaching, if you were already leading a team, this is how to incorporate the practice of EFT into that. It is not a certification program because I believe that many of you who are coaches just simply need another skill to add to your toolbox. I know for what I do, EFT forms a part of that now, but there are so many other things that you do. And so if you're a coach and coaching people, if you're a leader of a team in a business, or maybe you have a network marketing team, this is designed for you. So we're looking at how to facilitate breakthrough without not forcing change, which is very much a part of coaching and EFT combined, I believe. It's really about that. It's how to use EFT in an environment where people are working on money, success, procrastination, fear of confrontation. We're looking at this from totally a business perspective. It's about how to align EFT in a corporate or in a sales or in a business environment, not therapy. I'll repeat that. This is not therapy. So there's a lot of EFT programs that are for people who want to be EFT practitioners. This is not that. This is how to build your coaching around and using EFT as part of that. We'll also be introducing the 2 and 20 principle, how to use EFT with that. We'll be looking at how you incorporate this for yourself. How do you build this for self? Yeah, great additions to your work. Exactly, Donna. It's not about something separate. And I want to be just really, 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 really clear that this is for people who are already doing coaching in some aspect, and you're already building it in your own environment. Now, 16th and 17th of November, the information is on that link. This will be a small group. I wanted to make this small so we can spend 2 days. You will get a lot of your own tapping done. You will. There's a lots of learning, but you will do mostly this tapping one-on-one with people. And so I want to be able to get, for people who are coming, their own breakthroughs around money and success to start with, and doubt. It will be, as I said, so $6.95 is the early bird. I think I've got on there October 20, but I'm moving that to October 30 when I just realized it's the 6th of October already. $6.95. It's a 2-day training followed by 6 weekly follow-up calls that will all be recorded via Zoom. So you have support. So you'll learn this, and then you'll have ongoing support for 6 weeks following that. You'll have a secret Facebook page where you will be in. I'll be in there all the time talking. So the whole idea is that you learn this over a weekend, and then I've got you hitting the ground on the Monday, putting this into practice straight away. And then when you're doing that, we then have a weekly call, so you can come and say, this is what happened, and then this happened. Where should I have gone with this? This is what happened. I didn't know where this breakthrough through. That's where I see many of the EFT training programs. Thank you, Donna. Many of the EFT training programs don't have that ongoing support, and I think it's just so essential. The reason why it's essential is because you grow. And so that's why the 6-week ongoing support, it'll take you actually over, it'll take you right through to the end of the year. We might have a break over Christmas, considering I'm in Canada. But you will be ready to implement this when you leave, and you'll be able to implement it with your clients as well. And that's what this is all about. Remember, this is not, I'm going to say this again, not therapy, not for people who want to be an EFT practitioner. It's not that. It's for people who want to add a dimension to their coaching or to their training. So the link is there, EFT for Leaders. Message me if you've got any questions. I'm very, very excited about this. As I said, I've been working on this since January, putting the pieces together, and it will be a small one. It's in Brisbane. You'll be sent where it is when you book, and the reason for that is it's in a beautiful place, absolutely beautiful, but it doesn't seat very many, and I want to make it very, very personal. Not going to be big. This is going to be very personal. You will get lots of information, and in particular the facilitating breakthrough rather than forcing change concept, which I think to me makes all the difference, makes all the difference. And some of the things that people, EFT practitioners themselves, really struggle with. I'll teach you how to do that, and you'll be given some scripts too, so how you adapt the scripts for specific people. So head to that link. Yeah, love it. It's in Brisbane. Woohoo! Exactly. Yeah, and I'll share the link. It's actually quite central in Brisbane too. Parking's easy. With it there, it's got a kitchen. We're talking that we may be doing some great kind of food, sharing food, and anyway, it'll be a lovely weekend surrounded by lovely people. So that's click on that link, EFT for Leaders program, 16th and 17th of November. If it's something you really are interested in, I'd click on, as I said, the hour limit, and they are. I think it's, I don't know, I can't remember how people, 10, maybe 12, something like that. So yeah, click on the link and join, because it will sell out pretty quickly. So thank you, everybody, for today. I really would like you, if you could this week, stay really focused on the whole money thing. Really get underneath it. Thank you, Donna. Really get underneath it. Really get underneath, because when I read that stat, there is no country on earth where women make as much as men for the same work. Oh my freaking goodness. You're kidding me, right? This is 2018. And the other study was that it's 217 years before we reach gender equity. We have to learn to ask for this. Have a brilliant, you too, Laura. Thank you for being on today. We have to learn to ask for this. We have to teach our children to ask as well. So have a wonderful, wonderful weekend wherever you are. I hope we do get rain this weekend, because it would just be lovely, wouldn't it? You know, it's just so nice to see the grass green and it feels so fresh. Thank you for being on, everybody. Have a brilliant weekend. And I look forward to seeing you next week on the Isn't It Time Facebook Live show. Bye for now.